And today we're going to be looking at two Sega Saturn adventure games which were both Japan exclusive releases. First we'll check out j.b.harold Blue Chicago Blues and Prisoner of Ice, both of which now have full English fan translations available. So let's jump into the first game. j.b.harold Blue Chicago Blues was published by RiverhillSoft in 1995 on the Sega Saturn, and was the fifth and last entry in a very long-running detective adventure series that started way back in 1986 with Murder Club on the Japanese PC-98 computer, and has seen many sequels and iterations over the years. A lot of these never saw official English releases. RiverhillSoft was a Japanese game developer founded in 1982 in Fukuoka, Japan, where they stuck mainly to Japanese PC releases before fully branching out in the late 80s to early 90s into console gaming. Besides the j.b.harold series, they had many other notable releases, such as the Japan exclusives like Dr. Hauser on the 3DO, one of the original 3D survival horror games, and Vermilion Desert on the Dreamcast, a very cool and underrated action strategy game. They ended up filing for bankruptcy, however, in 2004 after a very unsuccessful shift to cell phone gaming. Blue Chicago Blues was originally released on the Mega LD Laseractive in 1994, and this was a port to the Saturn done 1 year later. The game itself is a visual novel FMV styled interactive movie. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, and features j.b.harold, the 1930s styled film noir detective from RiverHill's ongoing series investigating a double murder in Chicago. It's personal this time, with Catherine, JB's fiancée, a detective as well, being murdered, and another girl, Angie, a day earlier being killed. All the evidence though points to Catherine murdering her and then taking her own life, but none of this really adds up, so you head to Chicago to join up with a local detective to solve the double murder. Gameplay wise, it's simply menu choices. Each one you pick takes a little bit of time, and overall you got 4 full days to solve the case. It takes a little while for the game to really open up to the full map screen, but once you're there you can start doing your real investigations by choosing suspects and people to interview and start narrowing down all those facts and rumors. You can also go back to your main police station at any time, where all your clues and evidence are stored on a computer, and browse over everything for more information. The game is really like one of those old choose your own adventure novels, with time being your only real threat. With a game like this, the story is paramount though, and luckily it is pretty intriguing and told quite well, which keeps you engaged. But being a product of 90s FMV does mean there's some dodgy acting and performances here and there, which is pretty standard for this kind of game. But overall, it's still fairly convincing detective story with some good twists and unexpected turns much later in the game. Some of the same team that actually worked on this went on to make the excellent Nintendo DS game Hotel Dusk, which is essentially a fantastic j.b.harold game without the official name. This version of Blue Chicago Blues was converted to English by RJack at the end of 2023 by using an obscure English Windows version and overlaying the English dialogue into the Saturn one, and converting a number of text still shots in-game, and it took a total of 11 months to convert. And I'm sure everyone can really appreciate all the work that was put into this to finally bring this English version to the Saturn. This game is not going to be for everyone. It's more of an interactive movie than a traditional video game, but if you like this style or really want to just try something a little bit different, then definitely check out this great new translated version. Prisoner of Ice, also known as Call of Cthulhu Prisoner of Ice, was released originally in 1995 by Infogrames on the PC. It was a sequel to their H.P. Lovecraft adventure game Shadow of the Comet, released in 1993. Check out my episode of DOS Days for a full review of that game. This Sega Saturn version was released in Japan only in 1997 by Xing. The game itself is a traditional 1990s styled point-and-click adventure game with dialogue options for chatting to characters and items to pick up and use in various situations to solve different puzzles. It also does feature timed events that have to be completed pretty quickly or else you die, but thankfully the game autosaves these events so you can try them as many times as needed to progress. The story itself is based loosely on author H.P. Lovecraft's short story At the Mountains of Madness, with the story kicking off immediately with a British submarine crew rescuing a Norwegian who'd escaped a German secret base in Antarctica. They also pick up 2 sterling crates as well. The plot involves this German group trying to bring back the old gods into our reality, and you are basically in a race against time to stop them, and are pursued relentlessly throughout the game. It's a much bigger in scope story compared to Shadow of the Comet, which stuck mostly to a small town. This does a bit of globetrotting from Antarctica to the Falklands and even Argentina. And if you're a fan of the original game, then main character John Parker does make an appearance, linking the two games into this shared universe. The game has pretty high production values for the time, with detailed backdrops and pretty cool character animation, although the game loads a lot, so you just better get used to that. The soundtrack's in an old school movie style, with good voiceovers, except for the occasional person hamming it up as usual, which was common in 1990s voiceover work. The game is a straight port of the PC original, there's no added content, with the Saturn version having full mouse support as well. The game was English patched at the end of 2023 by Pliskin, who used the English PC CD-ROM version to do the process. He also did a full English conversion of Baroque for the Saturn, which I'll definitely feature in a future episode. Overall, Prison of Ice is a pretty cool point-and-click adventure game, and it's just really nice to see this new full English version now playable on the good old Sega Saturn.